30 years ago, the Berlin Wall fell, and 25 years ago, A.Lange Söhne released their first collection of watches in the modern era, including, of course, the Lange 1. It is the 25th anniversary of the Lange 1, and I'm here with Gisbert Brunner, who has, I would say, a unique outlook on the history of A.Lange Söhne, and of course, the Lange 1.
Yes, I started collecting watches from 1964, and I like watches, and watches are my passion. So I think I have a little access to the watches.
You certainly do, and you have a historian's eye for what has been going on. So I think that would be my first question. Can you set the scene before the Berlin Wall came down and before the first collection was released? What was the world like? What was the watch world like?
The watch world changed in the 1970s because at 1969 came the first quartz wristwatch, and the Swiss industry had a problem because the Japanese have been very strong in quartz watches. The Swiss slept a little, and the Swiss had a problem, and a lot of companies got bankrupt in this time, closed the doors forever. And then at the beginning of the 1980s, we had a comeback of the mechanical watchmaking. And this has been very impressive because a lot of people changed their mind regarding watchmaking. They wanted vintage watches because the industry stopped producing mechanical watches, so people bought vintage. And then the industry said, oh, mechanical is important, and therefore we have to go on with mechanical watches. And then we had in the 1980s, starting at about 83, 84, a renaissance of the mechanical watchmaking.
Wonderful. And then, of course, the Berlin Wall fell.
Yeah.
And what did that mean for A.Lange Söhne?
I think there has been a fantastic connection between two gentlemen. On the one side is Walter Lange, and on the other side is Günter Blümlein. Günter Blümlein has been the head of IWC and Jaeger LeCoultre in Switzerland, and Günter Blümlein has been an engineer by profession, no watchmaker. But Günter Blümlein suddenly understood the chances of a comeback of Lange Söhne in Glashütte, because in Glashütte luxury watchmaking has been forgotten. Glashütte made huge amounts of wristwatches, but these have been ordinary wristwatches on a mediocre or low level, no high-end products, and therefore now this has been the hour for the comeback of A.Lange Söhne.
The Lange 1 is the epitome of two people's visions for the future.
Yeah.
And you're saying that Walter Lange and Günter Blümlein, they needed to meet to make the Lange 1.
You needed Walter Lange as a testimonial, as the grandson of Ferdinand Adolf Lange, who founded, because you can build a history far better if you have the witness and the testimonial from the past. And so I think the two people, Walter Lange, who dreamt of a comeback of his family brand, and Günter Blümlein, who had the money in the background, who had the visions, who had the industrial knowledge how to rebuild the brand, how to construct a new movement, which elements do I need to do something perfect. And he had the Swiss watchmaker in the background who could develop and could build this first movement.
Do you remember the moment when the veil, the curtain was pulled off?
Yeah,
that?
There has been a wall, and there have been columns. And there, on the one column has been Hartmut Knote. Then we had Walter Lange in the middle. On the left side, we had Günter Blümlein. And they had the four different first watches: the Arcade, the Saxonia, the Tourbillon pour le Mérite, and on the far left, the Lange 1. And so they have been very proud. We have been in the room. The journalist, Günter Blümlein, made a speech, talked about his vision, and then it opened and we have seen the watches. And a lot of people said, wow, and so on.
Wonderful. And as you say, some people loved it, some people gasped, some people went, wow, and some people were not sure if this should be in the lineup at all. This is not Lange.
Yeah, and these people went wrong. if you look back into the year 1994, we had the 4 watches. What succeeded has been the Lange 1 and the small amount of tubular polymerid.
And you've had these watches? You've bought these watches for your collection?
I bought it, yeah. I bought it. When I've seen the watch, I bought it.
All the way back in 1994?
Yes. I'm an owner from a very, very early. And I bought later I bought a datograph and so on. Yeah, I'm a fan, I'm a watch collector, and my heart is ticking. And my heart is ticking for A.Lange Söhne because I like to take a loop and I like to look into the movements. And I'm very happy that my son, who is 33 now, he likes to sit with me and I'm picking the watches from the back safe on Sunday morning, and we have a glass of wine and we're sitting looking into the watch bag, discussing about the movement, the values of a movement, the values of a watch, and I'm happy that I think he will follow my tradition as a collector.
Gisbert Brunner, thank you for a wonderful look
You're
back at the
welcome.
past.
It's nothing.
Thank you.
All the best. And good luck for A.Lange.